If you're frustrated about being successful everywhere in your life except for fitness, you like transformations like these, that seems pretty sick. Like if a guy like that can look like this in just 6 months, why can't I? Then I'm going to give you the exact system that can help you actually build your own plan to getting in the best shape of your life without your busy lifestyle getting in the way. Also, if you're feeling overwhelmed by all this contradictory fitness advice, I'm going to show you how to focus on a single goal so you can start to chip away at the fat and not get so lost and caught up with all this overload of doing a million things at once. One goal that you can focus on that can solve all the other things in your life. And because it's data driven, I'm going to show you how instead of all or nothing thinking, black or white perfectionism, where if you can't do everything, might as well do nothing. I'm going to show you how to see this more like driving a car. If you really have all the time in the world, you can really speed up on the gas. If life gets a little crazy, how do you slow down and go at medium speed? And ultimately, if life is insane, which it really does get for all of us, we all have those chapters. How do you slow down the gas where you can still move and make progress even during your craziest weeks so that you're always moving, even if it is slower or faster one week over the other? Because life happens. So if that's you, I'm going to show you a live client call that just got a body fat scan, and I'm taking the data from that scan and I'm actually mapping out a 12-week plan for them so we can set achievable targets every week, even when life gets crazy.
First of all, I love how they added this. They didn't have this 6 months ago. And I think they've just saved a lot of people pain. So let's take a look at this. Where does your mind go when you see all this stuff?
Girl's got some hips.
So you see the visual here.
Yeah.
Girl has some hips. Blue is
I'm
fat.
like, wow, look how thin I could be without the purple.
It is so cool, right? This is the first example of you seeing the lean Greek goddess underneath the fat.
Totally.
It's the first case. And it really is the start of our journey together, because our journey is, what would it look like if you could delete the blue and increase the orange?
Yep.
And on that journey, could the first chapter be, let's delete blue and maintain orange? And then when there's no blue, build orange? Right? Or like realize it's two separate systems. Like there is the delete blue stage and there is a increase orange stage. And we may or may not be able to do both or one at a time, depending on how busy we are in life, right? How much, because to delete blue, it's a certain number of check boxes, right? And then to increase orange is a separate check boxes, right?
Yeah.
So just based on your capacity to check boxes, we can decide on a week by week basis, hey, how many do you want to do?
Now let me ask you a question. If I wanted to be more aggressive for the next 4 to 6 weeks, because right now I have the time,
Great.
like, could we be like the most aggressive right now because I have the willpower and I have the time to do so for the next 4 to 6 weeks? And then after that, depending where I am with my job and
Yeah.
everything else, can
Yeah.
we do something a little bit more like sustainable for a
Okay.
longer time?
Okay, this is perfect. So Sharmeen, look at all this trash on this page. Look at all this shit. None of this stuff, all this stuff could give you a aneurysm, right?
I
What
was
is
just
all
gonna
this
say
stuff?
aneurysm.
What is all this stuff? So the point of this first scan is, what's really so great is none of this stuff matters. The only thing that matters is defining what is our North Star and understanding where we are today in very simple terms. So what is the only info I use? This is all that matters.
Yep.
Okay, so you want to be aggressive. Aggressive where? Aggressive toward a vision of success. So this is Sharmeen here, right? This is Sharmeen today. Sharmeen in the future is somewhere in one of these categories or something in this direction, right?
Yep.
Which one really stands out to you? And don't really focus on the numbers. My job is to be to translate physical into numerical, but just tell me what stands out to you and why.
Well, the one that's 15 to 17% is definitely more of the body I'm looking for.
Okay, nice. So if we're driving on a road trip, you pulled up Google Maps and you said, this is the destination.
Yep.
And then Google Maps has the location of your phone and it says, well, today we're here. Now, you know, when you go on Google Maps and it says directions and it gives you like, hey, turn right here, go
Options.
0.3 miles, this,
Mhm.
that's this, which is basically, if you can, once again, don't look at any of this, don't look at any of this, just look at column D. Today you're at 30%. You want to get to 15 to 17. Let's start with 17. I always like to set, let's under promise, over deliver. If you're coasting at a certain rate, 30 becomes at a rate of losing 1.5 pounds of fat a week, which is reasonable. You're going from 30 to 29 next week. Each of these is a week. 28, 27. Brrr. Okay. Wow. In 18 weeks, there exists, in the infinite possibilities in the world, there exists a version of you that gets sub 17% before Valentine's Day.
Damn. Now we gotta
So-
find me a Valentine.
Well, the Valentine will find you, right? Because you're doing your job.
Yep.
So what kind of comes up for you here when, instead of focusing on all these random numbers, if I was to just tell you February 7th at a reasonable rate, you could be at that body by January 7th, and today is October 17th.
That's
So
amazing.
how many
So
weeks,
by
how
the
many
new
months is that?
year,
By
like
the new year, right? Right. So
Yeah.
today is October 17th. So November, December. So 2.5 months, you'll be at 20%, 21%.
that sounds really good. I mean, that's a third of my BF right now.
1/3 of, right.
That's a third of
And
that.
you can't get to zero, you'll be dead.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
sometimes I do these metrics with people and it's like, they'll literally be dead.
Damn, look at that.
By March. So
So in my grave as I'm being eaten.
yeah, right. Okay.
That's amazing. That's nice. I like this.
So now the fun part comes. Let's define the word aggressive. So we know that there is a future that exists. It's within reach.
Yep.
October, November, December, January, February, 4 months. On the grand scheme of things, 4 months is, what do you think? Is a lot? Is it little? Is it reasonable? Is it?
I mean, it's reasonable, but what is my aggressive option? Give me my challenge. Could we do 2 pounds a week?
And so now you're trying to understand what are the
Yeah.
3 ranges: aggressive, coast, like chill, aggressive. What are 3 terms?
Moderate.
Really? Yeah, moderate and chilling.
Yeah.
right? All 3 of which, by defining all 3, there is no 4th option, which we all default to, which is
Nothing.
nothing, if we're lucky, which is maintenance. And then the 5th option, which almost all of us actually stay at, which is regression,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's, I'm a failure. It's not enough. Let's eat. I'm not good enough. Right now we're doing a reverse. Now it's -1,
Damn.
right? Right. And you can set
Maybe that's-
progressions,
Yeah.
right? You can set progressions on this stuff. So let's go. And so if we want to do, so aggressive, rule of thumb is always, so what does aggressive mean, right? Velocity is all, the ceiling of velocity is dictated on when it starts to actually negatively impact other areas of life. Hunger, energy, hormonal, right? Like if we get past a certain threshold, those things start kicking in and then we end up failing at the whole reason we're here,
Mm-hmm.
which is to live a better life,
Right.
not to look a certain way.
Right.
But don't get me wrong, different people get turned on in different ways when they see numbers like this. And psychologically, they will energetically be higher, even though they're eating less because they
Yeah.
see a pass through. I'm that way.
Totally. I noticed that last night when as I was like logging in my food, I was like, I had like an allowance to still eat, and I'm like, I don't want to look. And then I was trying to pressure myself to eat more so I can meet my, then I'm like, why am I doing this?
Right.
Like, I should just eat as much as I need. And it was funny that I was like deficient yesterday, but it made me, it just, going back to what you just said right now, it's knowing that I can make it through though. So I don't know if that was one of the reasons where I like before, my fear with food was, oh, I'm not going to be able to eat everything I want. Am I going to have enough calories? Now that's not a fear anymore. And it's funny that my body's like, I don't even need 1800. I'm good with like 1500 today.
Well, what's so interesting is when we don't know what our vision of the future is, and we don't know that there exists a version of Shermeen at February 7th, your mind naturally goes to foods I like, preferences in the moment, and impulses.
Yep.
Right. But if you have a vision of the future, we're going to play a whole different game, which is first, let's decide your run rate based on what you can commit to. And then it's my job as a coach to actually tell you what is enough. I set the boxes of your playground. And then within that, within the calories and the protein goals and the workouts, that's where we have fun.
Right.
Because objectively, all you got to do is hit those numbers to get here. And then subjectively, you and I work together to make that fun. How do you go to the gym with confidence? How do you make sure you get the sweet tooth, right? The sweet tooth, all that's inside the numbers. That is not the numbers.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You can't quantify fun.
Yeah.
But you can quantify results. Okay. So top line, aggressive. Highest I'd go is about 1% of our body weight in fat a week. Okay. So if you are 1.57 pounds, what's the fastest we can go? Pounds a week.
1.57.
1.57 divided by, times, or what is it? Times 0.01 times 0.01. Right. Right. And then as we lose weight, what happens to our rate?
It slows down.
Slows down a little bit, right? We go from 1.57. Eventually we'll get to like 1.3. This is a surefire bet. Okay. Like aggressive, safe, aggressive. If you want to go aggressive, now we're like, hey, let's play it by ear on a week-to-week basis. I could go a little higher, right? We could go maybe 2. And at first, water weight and those things will drop where it might actually give us 2. But over time, over the long run, it'll be like a 1.57 coast.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's been my experience.
It's been your experience?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's aggressive. Any questions on that?
No, pretty clear.
Next option is the classic, just simple math, 1 pound a week. Okay. Now for people that are really heavy, 250 pounds, it all depends on your BMI. People that have a lot of body fat that are like in the 45 and above, we can lose even more fat because you just got so much fat to lose.
Like
But
one in a
for most people, yeah, I'd say 1 pound a week is, you can do it. Come on.
Yeah.
What is 1 pound a week? 1 pound a week is, and I'll just do the numbers quickly for you. 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories, which really over the course of a week, 7 days, what happens when you take 3,500 calories and you divide it evenly across 7 days? How much does that give us every day?
500.
So just eating 500 less calories a day from what you're currently doing is a piece of cake. It has nothing to do with cardio. If I just took a bowl of almonds that we were eating that were 500 calories and I replaced it, boom, there we got our deficit. It's like a few food swaps.
Right.
Light work. Another example, a bag of Lay's chips is like 200 calories and it makes you want to eat more. Going to the gym and doing cardio for like 45 minutes, that's 300 calories, right? So like, instead of killing yourself at the gym, trading time for calories, we can just swap some food around, create the deficit from nutrition. You're not doing any more work. That's why I consider that a chill option.
Yeah.
That's mid-tier, average. Any questions on that?
Mm-mm. No.
And then the chillest one is like 0.5 pounds a week.
Damn.
I mean, that's like doing what you're currently doing and then replacing one item a day.
Yeah.
And when I mean replacing, I mean if you're eating a Haagen-Dazs, get a Ninja Creamy. Done.
Yeah.
Now you're having a 200-calorie ice cream instead of a 1,000-pint ice cream. And that honestly would bring us to the average tier. I don't even know how to give you a 0.5 plan. I
Yeah.
could though. I could.
No, thanks.
So
I'll
between
get bored and fall off.
right. So aggressive, average, chill, which one?
I think I could do, I mean, I would like to start with the 2 pounds for like at least the next 4 weeks and then go into
Okay.
1.5.
Cool.
Just
So
because I'm
week,
looking at the gym right now. Like after this call, I'm going to the gym for the next 2.5 hours. Like
okay.
if I sit at home, there's really nothing.
Yeah.
I have like submitted so many applications. Like I
Yeah.
have so much time on my hand.
Right.
It's kind of ridiculous if I don't go and like at least burn off the steam. So
if
I
we
mean,
go
we
to
could
two,
do that 1.5 and then we can just like, I can be an overachiever.
here's the dealio. You want to hit 2, which is above 1% body fat. What now becomes the top priority with us? What now must you provide me as the coach to
Food.
make sure you're actually living? What's up?
You probably want to know how I'm eating and how I'm feeling throughout the day.
How you're feeling.
Yeah.
So this is where our weekly check-ins become really important. And we start to pivot from the intention of a weekly check-in being anything else but how am I doing? How's the energy? How's the mood? We're going to have daily and weekly metrics to just see how you're doing. If
Right.
if energy, recovery, all these things are doing great, why the hell am I going to slow you down? Power to you. Everybody's different.
Right.
The minute we notice fatigue and stuff, instead of freaking out, we'll just look and say, well, shit, it makes sense. Now let's focus on quality. Let's look for what's the lowest hanging fruit. Oh, I'm eating this stuff. Like this isn't very easily digestible. Let's focus on, and we start to focus on the little things.
Right.
Oh, and sorry, it's 10:11. And let's see, does this change our timeline? It was 1 week behind. No, we're still. Oh, Jesus Christ! Now we're in January 9th.
I know. That's crazy.
This is where it's so fun because it's like,
That's why I was like, I just want to see what it looks like
Right,
because
right, right.
that
It just
may
see what
be
it looks
enough to inspire me right now.
right. And I think what I love about this process the most is when we realize numbers can really get us excited, but also it should never be our prison where if you don't get January 9th, you fail. That's not the point. It's just fun to like see a target. Let's gun it. And if for some reason 1 week we don't do 2 and we do 1.2, we'll just every week have the convo of like, hey, here's where we're supposed to be. Now we're going to push the timeline, but we still always have our eye on the gold.
No, I like
Let's say
that.
you had a blowout week. Hey, your friend that has no vision of the future says, live a little, live a little. And then you go and you binge. All right. It pushed the date back like
Yep.
3-4 days. That's just what it is.
This is exactly.
Let's live with the consequences of our actions and not judge ourselves for it. Let's get
Exactly.
inspired.
No, I like this. This is like really good. This is exactly like what I was hoping to see. So at least I know like it's like a backup plan.
Yes.
No, that's perfect. I like that. And I think those dates get me so excited. It's like, okay, well, we can get there in February, which is still a great date. But if you really want to if you can, and it's not going to impact you in like a significant way, that's going to throw you off for the rest of areas of your life, then look, like you can earn a month sooner.
So you kind of set the ceiling and the floor for the body, right?
I'm a business person. Like we have to have our minimal and our maximum and like our happy medium.
I think all the executives and all the leadership that go through this program, they should see it that way, right?
Yeah, totally. Like what is the optimal and what is like the minimum, like you won't go, like you're non-negotiable.
Right.
For me now, it's like, it's going to have to be February. Like there's no time later, but we love like surpassing those goals. So it's like January is so sexy right now because I know it's feasible to get it in February 7th. But if I can hit it in January 17th, that's like, that
Right.
makes it sexy for some reason in my head.
So then, is it fair then to also talk about worst case scenario? 0.5?
Yeah.
I gotta get these numbers a little. Let me get, I got one of these here. She wants to see like a 1 year projection, so. God, I wish there was better stuff. Sometimes spreadsheets are great because you can customize stuff. Other times, like moving templates and stuff over is just a headache. Hold on. So this one is. Okay. Here, you're gonna get to 17 by wow. That's wild. By September 18th,
Wow, next
2025.
year. See, but when I see that, that's not even something like it doesn't register.
Right.
It's done. It's dead.
It's dead. But it's so interesting how we think progress is linear. So 0.5 versus 1 pound should be twice as long, but it's actually exponentially longer because of just how body fat percentages work over time. What happens is the less body fat you have, this is the craziest exercise, by the way. I want to do this. It's gonna blow your mind. Jesus, what the heck?
You okay?
No, I'm gonna die. I lost body fat too fast. I'm gonna die. Okay, let me do a crazy example for you. This is what's so wild about how the less fat you have, the quicker each pound becomes a bigger percentage of your total body fat you're losing. Look at
Mhm.
these two people. One person has let's say 10 pounds of fat and they're 100 pounds. The other person has 99 pounds of fat and they're 100 pounds. Okay.
Jesus, they're
You-
gonna die.
they're dead. Both are close to death on each side. In this case, I'm 10% body fat, right? So this is 99 pounds of fat. And this is 100 pounds total, right?
Mhm.
So this is 99% body fat, right? Body fat. So both people lose 1 pound of fat, right? 1 pound. This guy next week is now 9 out of 99. So he's at what percentage body fat? After he lost 1 pound of fat. -1
He's still at
pound.
10.
Is he? Do the math right now. He's at 9. Did you see that? 9 divided by 99 is it 10?
Oh wow, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yes, it's 9. It's
You
around
only had to
9.
lose one. Wow.
Yes. Why? And now let's do the math. I just want to reinforce this for you. But if someone that's now 99 out of 100, now they're 98 out of 99, right?
Nothing.
That's 98 divided by 99. So terrible. Now, what is their body fat percentage?
98.9.
Oh, Jesus.
Still technically 99.
Still the same. 99. Still lost a pound,
Yeah.
but one is 10 times more body fat
Crazy.
drop. Why?
It's just like the proportion. Like they have a lot. It's the volume. And then but that 1 pound for the 100 pounder to lose is a lot harder. Like their body's not gonna let go of that 1 pound as easily, right?
So, top and bottom version 1, version 2. Which one is easier to lose the fat?
I would think it's harder for the first one to lose it because they're so close to their what is it called when your body's like a happy medium, like doesn't want
Yes,
to go
equilibrium.
equilibrium. Exactly. It doesn't want to dip any lower versus the guy who is 99% body fat, his body is
Right.
ready as soon as he stops.
Yep.
I like how
The minute he gets up to walk 10 feet, he'll lose that.
yeah,
He
like
or
it's
she.
wanting to melt off versus the other guy is like, hey, gonna be starving. You're gonna kill me
Right.
here.
Right. So this paradox right here is why having legendary coaching is so important.
Yeah.
Because while it's easy to lose a pound, it won't make a big difference at first.
Yeah.
Each pound you lose, the leaner you get, becomes so visually noticeable that as you go through the valley, at some point it gets hard, right? At some point, you're like, you need to check off the right boxes to make sure your energy is still high at this rate, your mood is still high, your hormones are still good, right? So with the
Yeah.
right plan, as long as you're still losing 1 pound and all the boxes are ticked, you're going to look so much better just for that pound.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's so important for us to have the conversation. And you choosing between 0.5 and 2 and having the right plan and having the assurance you have the right plan just changes the game.
Totally.
Because
Mhm.
now you can say January and you can say confidently.
Totally.
And what's going to be so fun here is these last couple weeks is going to be way crazier progress to see than these
I
first
know.
visually.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the fun part.
That's the fun part. Now we
Yeah.
got to figure out what are the metrics of success during these first couple weeks, because visually you won't see it as much because there's so much fat
Right.
that allow you to realize the micro wins. It's happening, even though you might not visually see it.
But at
And
20%, I should start to see a difference between now and 20%, right?
between now and 20, yes, there will be differences at every week. I'm saying visually,
Visually, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
From visually, look, if I lost 1% of my body fat and I'm 9%, that is way different than a 10% guy.
Yeah.
Someone that loses 1 pound at 99, 98, no one knows the difference.
You'll notice
But it
it.
still is
Yeah.
a big deal. You just need
Yeah.
to have the confidence and to know I'm on the right track.
Totally. Damn. Miss
So
Lena.
next steps for us.
Next steps.
My job now that I know your run rate, right, is I'm going to give you the plan that gets you there at that rate. Okay. Your daily check boxes, your non-negotiables. Right? So at the end of the day, you say, I ate exactly this many. No more are you going to be thinking about, hey, my body feels full. Or you're not making emotional decisions anymore. Now you're making objective decisions, right? This is the
Mhm.
plan that's going to get you there. And every week we look at the results if you followed the plan, right? And we
Okay.
say, do we need to adjust the plan because we're behind schedule? Maybe there was a tweak that your body had, right? Metabolically or something else that we need to tweak, or it was an adherence problem, right? So the plan's fine. You didn't hit all the boxes, and we'll
Right.
talk about why it was an adherence problem. Maybe we scale something down. Maybe we simplify something. Maybe next week when you're traveling, we realize, all right, you're not going to cook. What do we do about it so we can get back and hit those numbers?
Right. Makes sense.
And that's how the game starts.
Okay.
That's the weekly tweaks and stuff.
Okay. Perfect.
Any questions?
No, that sounds good so far.
All right. The last thing you need to know from me is, and I have to admit this, I have yet to crack the mind reading and the body scanning part. And so I'm going to do my best guess. I'll do an educated guess. I'll run through some numbers that for Shermeen at your height, your weight, your age, your gender, here's what I believe your metabolic rate is. And then this is the deficit that allows us to hit these fat loss projections at this rate. It's an art, right?
Mhm.
But everybody's different. So what's
Sure.
going to happen these first couple of weeks is what we call the calibration period, where I'm setting a plan and then I'm giving you a prescription that I believe will get us there. You hit the boxes with 100% integrity. And then at the end of every week, for the first 2 weeks, we're going to compare the expected results to the actual results.
Ooh, I like that.
And
Now
then
you're
we'll
My language.
gap analysis. You know that, have you done this stuff?
This is clinical trials.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is what you do.
Yep. This is perfect.
So every week we tune. By the second week, we're dialed. We know what the numbers are. We're not reading in a magazine what your metabolism. We're not guessing whether your metabolism's so down. We're not doing one of these resting metabolic tests where you breathe into it. We're having cold hard evidence that shows both of us how your body's running.
Yep. I like that.
And the reason this is so critical for the first 2 weeks is because when you finally have the evidence that your body's a consistent machine, because you're consistent with the input, so we see the consistent outputs. Any point down the road on the journey, if we're not getting the result we expect, we always know how to go back to the control and say, what input did I change? I must have changed an input because my body is consistent.
Mhm.
Oh, I was eating at a restaurant, a 5-star Michelin restaurant, and they doused it with oil that I didn't track. I didn't realize this wasn't just a salmon. This is salmon with butter and oil. And the salad had this goat cheese. Thank God. Now we can focus our energy looking at the gaps instead of pointing the finger at us saying, our body, we messed up.
That makes sense. Yeah. Totally. See, this is why I have to be in control of my own food.
What's up?
So this is why I have to be in control of my own food. Can't
Yeah.
eat out. anymore. Can't
At least for
trust
the next,
people.
at least for the next 2 weeks.
That's good because I don't have an income right now, so I can't afford to eat out anyways.
Right. Perfect.
Perfect. That's why I'm like, you
Yeah.
have me like prisoned only here and Bake Club. Like, let's take advantage of it. I have no
Yes.
choice.
This is detention
This is
for the rest
the
for to get numbers for the rest of your life. Because your
Exactly.
metabolic rate is going to be your metabolic rate for the rest of your life.
Yep, totally.
For the rest of your life. So now, anytime I have let's say I got a wedding coming up or a vacation or, randomly every year I have one of those kinks where I just tell Instagram, hey, I'm going to get to 10% body fat. I can just do the reason why is because I just do this. How I have the certainty and I never get it wrong is I just do the projections. I know my metabolic rate, so I know exactly how many calories gets me the rate I want. And then I just check the boxes. And I get it every freaking time.
Amazing.
There's no guesswork.
That's amazing. I love this forecasting. That's such a great tool. Okay, let's build it. Do it. Let's see how
You're like, enough's enough. So let's just fucking do this thing,
let's
dude.
do it. Let's see in 2 weeks if we're matching up these numbers. Adherence, that's my number one job.
Adherence is your number one job.
Yep.
So what are next steps for us? I think we can dive right into phase 2, which is the tracking.
Hmm.
Phase 1 was taking photos, but I think phase 2 is fine, correct?
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Any feedback on the experience? Any questions you have?
No, I think what I'm gonna do to make it a little bit more easier on myself, since I am cooking at home and I will probably be repeating the same food, instead of like, I'm just going to add favored meals. I know you had mentioned that, but like now I'm going to do that for like, now I know which Ninja Creamies I'm gonna like. I'm just going to come up with those measurements that is good, that meets my caloric intake, my protein, and then pretty much like make that 5 times a week. So I'm going to automate it pretty much. So hopefully that's going to make it easier where I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I forgot to log in my food. That way, at least I'm adhering to that, and it's going to be effortless.
As long as you have your go-to, we'll know we're set on the fat loss side because this is a fat loss combo, right? Notice how we didn't even talk about muscle yet.
Yeah, totally.
There is a certain number of calories and a certain number of protein that when you hit it every day, you will get to your body fat percentage guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fat loss combo.
Yep.
As long as you have the meals you love, that the composition of those meals at the end of the day adds up to the number, you're good. What do you think is the natural next step once we've automated that?
Get the workout in.
Build the muscle.
Yep.
Build the muscle. And then that's a bonus now because the conversation we had now is just, okay, Shermeen here to there, assuming you maintain the muscle you have. Now we're setting projections with building muscle. So we're going to actually exceed our projections.
Awesome. I'm still in my classes though, right?
Your workout classes?
Yeah.
So whatever you do, we got to log all the inputs. So this is why you have your fitness tracker, right?
Yeah. I gotta get
So
back
if the
in.
fitness
Yep.
tracker is connected to the fitness app, whatever heart rate activities you do, cardio, steps, classes, it all basically impacts your burn rate. So if you were to do no activity and you ate 2,000 calories versus you did a ton of activity and ate 2,000 calories, those are very different,
Yeah,
right? So we just got to be present when we start. What's all the activity that you're doing? Let's control it as a variable. What's all the inputs you're having for food? Let's control it as a variable. So when we see the results on the progress, we know what are the inputs that actually dictated
Exactly.
it. Let's
Yeah.
not ignore the fact that you're doing those classes. I just don't want you to think that you have to do those classes. You don't.
Right. No, it just helps me mentally right now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But
Keeps me
we should
busy.
track how much caloric burn those classes are having. So
Yeah.
when the season of life happens where you don't have the time to do those classes, we know what nutritionally we have to transfer over.
Totally.
Those
Okay.
calories will not disappear.
Yeah.
So they have to be somewhere.
Yeah. Totally. Okay.
All right. What would you like to be acknowledged for today?
What would I like to be acknowledged for? The drive. I'm so pumped. Like I'm so excited.
The drive. Drive for what?
But it's not just the drive. I feel empowered. I feel empowered because I feel like I now have confidence in the plan. And even if the plan doesn't work out the way I hope for it to, I know we have so many there's insurance in play to like tweak things up so we can get it to work in our favor. So now I don't have to make it work for me, or I don't have to fit into that mold, it's gonna fit into my mold. And that is
Sharmeen,
like empowerment.
Sharmeen, I want to acknowledge you for actually shifting the way you've thought about health and fitness into becoming exactly how you've tackled every other life problem. Bringing your clinical background to controls, setting visions and letting numbers decide something that you're excited about, being clear about that it's not all or nothing. There's an aggressive, a medium, and a simple option, and being excited about choosing the ceiling and the threshold, giving yourself the wiggle room to do above and beyond, and giving yourself the grace to realize it's not about the finish. It's about the process.
Totally.
So can't really lose now.
No, no.
Awesome.
Thank you, Iman. This is awesome. I'm really excited. I'm gonna
Same
get
here.
all my gears on. I'm gonna be tracked like a little data machine.
That's it. That's it. And
That's
and then we go from there. So right after this call, I'll get your numbers. I'll
Okay.
input them in the app. And let's start week 1 of a 2-week calibration.
Sounds good. So excited.
See, Sharmeen.
All right, have an awesome time.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you
Appreciate it.
soon. Thank you.
Bye.